Wisla side, who's on a bit of a downwards trajectory on Dust 2. It does look good in terms of the numbers from Fiend.
Absolutely, no, that win streak is just something to behold, honestly. So that's my main sort of concerning things when, as for things I look at when it comes to how this map is going to play out. It's all about that that Fiend side. For me, this is going to be simple enough for them to be able to take it. If Vista can make it close, then it does put us in an encouraging position going into map 3 of Ancient. If they can take it in 2-0 fashion, I would be impressed. It's Fiend on the T side, start with a utility in on Bubble, a flash, and a smoke. P250 dropped over towards Dreamer, playing the raid boss in this particular round. And CT's flashing their way into the tunnels, going to try and catch off Red Star. They see him, they can't quite get that kill.
It does seem as if it could be a split into the B side. You've got a couple of mid players, you've got the bomb coming through from up and now into lower tunnels, and an aggressive move to start off by the City side. Get that flash out, get Marcos into the early contact. Wasn't really able to see anything with it.
Smokes on Marcos, just going to tap forward, seeing those T-side players and eventually catch Han behind the smoke. Had no idea about him, but drawing first blood regardless, alongside PHR's kills, coming in on one player back of the site, but can't hold on for much longer. Victor does overwhelm with the trade. They gain the long control. Still in from short. Marcos can attack. He'll get that frag. Almost catch the second player who escapes behind the default boxes and now maintains the 2v4.
And there's even a late wrap to come through from Spiro out from the long position that Dreamer may not be aware of. That P250 has got to start getting involved with Bubble.
Oh, good shot from Bubble. Gets Marcos. Blocked out of the way by the CT side. Dreamer turns on towards that long flanker as the CTs get cleaned up by the P250. It's all going to be on Goofy. Diffuse kit in hand. Hides behind the box. Taps it. Crack angle for Bubble to work with. And he gets his kill in to allow Fiend the pistol round.
I don't know how they do it. This isn't even the first time in this series that they've brought back a massive disadvantage. We saw that 2v5 on Overpass. Now we're seeing a 2v4. And when everything is set up the way that it is, the PHR's continuing to do damage on the site. Rotators are coming up from City Spawn itself. Marcos even dealing with Victor. The round looks done. And instead, Bubble and Dreamer just work together.
Very nicely played between these two individuals to enable the right kills to come in at the right times. Dreamer in particular working out along to enable his teammate a bit of support from that site itself. And a start out again goes the way of the T-side line. They've lost that first pick into the mid control very early into our second round. The Wisla not quite able to turn that advantage back into their own favor.
That's all about the tags and all about the early damage in from Wisla on the Force. Han getting picked off by that scout to the back of the plat on the B site. And Fiend thinking about just trying to get some deeper mid-control, get some flashes, and at least that molly over the top to that right-hand side. Start clearing out these cheeky cubby corners.
Can't catch PHR, unfortunately, is out towards that mid position, going back into the B site. Red Star's Mac 10 in with a kill. Finds PHR, a 4 versus 4. Scout looking up, kills in from all the T-side players as they overwhelm the Fiend defensive positions. And Wisla set to concede another round.
That was a good start from Wisla. I'll give them that much. Other than the start, though, things haven't really gone that well. Even Goofy trying to save up in Suicide gets dealt with by the Galil. And for Spiro, you've got to imagine he could get hunted too.
So back at CT Spawn, the teams are not going to lean into that position just yet. They could well do so. Hearing those footsteps, there's information going the way of him, probably going to be used to try and stay alive in this round. Get the Kevlar, most importantly, into the next one. Barrel will just wait as the T's rotate back out of dodge, hold on to their weapons. And again, gain 2 on the board.
I think the story as well from Fiend is an interesting one and not a team approach that we normally see. They started off as a complete mixed team, didn't they? Just having a bit of a laugh, having some fun. We saw like Numb and Sleepy playing with them very early on, Mar as well. And then it got to a point where they went from a mixed team to, hang on a minute, we're actually starting to do really well. We're starting to get some good results in. They were orgless for a very long time. They've now gone to the likes of signing up with the organization of Fiend. They've now qualified for 2 lands in the last month and looking to qualify for their 3rd.
And they hold themselves in is pretty high regarded. Right now, in the context of this particular map up, they are in a pretty decent position. On Dust 2, Eco in for Wisla should enable the 3-0 start for Fiend. Unless Sparrow has some other ideas, but with him and Goofy being the only upgrade pistols in this round, chances of them doing much here are pretty slim.
Oh, he said it now. Now there's going to be all the kills coming through for the CT bases. You can't really expect it though, can you? Even that volley up to the short position, Han farming with the Mac-10 and really farming with 3 kills.
So you were saying?
Ah, yes, of course. You wait, it's going to happen at some point.
I would be shocked if we didn't see at least one eco round coming in on Dust 2. For now, however, it's lots of money being gained by Han. Setting a course with that Mac-10 upgrade to the main staple weapons, the AWP in for him. With the guns out for Wisla, Krakow, it's still kind of a bonus round for Fiend. Opting for a little bit more with AKs on 2 individuals, and of course that AWP out for Han.
Haven't really seen the CTs take advantage of the new map updates in terms of aggression out to lower tunnels or aggression up from short. Maybe something that we catch an eye on for the next few rounds.
Saw a little bit of it in the pistol round with the basic flashes forward of the mid doors, but it didn't really extend to gain actual map control. It was just a case of looking into information, and only for the pistol round. Since that point, we've not seen it once from them. But you're right, maybe that could end up working out well for them. Of course, it means that they've got 1 extra smoke to play with, thanks to not having to smoke the cross out of the CT spawn. The end result. To enable potential in terms of the mid-defensive. Wisla working in. We'll be able to catch that opening start. Jedka, first to fall.
They've done damage, at least from Victor and to Bubble early round. It's still that opening pick, and just looking to be a B split. You've got that 1 lurker Dreamer into the upper tunnels. 2 players on B to try and defend from Wisla.
Brave Stu for Goofy, dishing out the damage to Bubble and Victor. Red Star tagged up pretty heavily. PHR gets his kill. Goofy can follow suit with another good pick back alongside PHR and Marcos continuing to find their picks together. 4 for 1 of the trade, and Bubble left alone to also go down through the smoke as Wisla will turn their first gun round to success.
A great sequence out from the position itself. Yeah, obviously the tag damage is really going to help. PHR just not really overextending all that much. Marcos with the AWP starts getting involved, and even some of the rotators in terms of Goofy just continue doing damage, end up with a couple of kills. And for Fiend, well, they get tested straight away when the rifles come out.
Timeouts come in very early in this matchup, as called by the boys over on the Fiend side. I guess given the fact that they lost that map up having been so close, they don't want to allow things to get too far out of control too quickly. Guns out, of course, are standard against the Wisla double AWPs for Marcos and for Sparrow. What they can do with this one. Han's going to try look towards that mid door. You can still look into that mid position in spite of the new wall update. Trying to hunt for the picks back, but so far so little is gained. They do not find that opening. Start of a Fiend. Working the defaults as standard.
They're probably going to see a lot of variation when it comes to those mid picks. We're seeing that one. You can decide to not get boosted. You get slight more information, slightly more elevation, I guess, as such, knowing that Han had a teammate underneath him. And Jedka just clearing out any of these mid positions just in case Victor's decide to go for a walkout through the smoke itself. And Fiend not facing any resistance on this short position.
Facing resistance in the long control instead as Goofy swings out with the initial AWP shot from Marcos that led the player out towards that long house. Han is there for a quick responsive, so he doesn't allow that CT to extend too far forward. And they have seen that bomb at least. There's info gain for Wisla, but it might not mean much. They really could go to either side here, Fiend.
There's not a lot of util, so lurk smoke out from the upper tunnels is a possibility from Red Star. Flash over as well. PHR is here with the AWP of his teammate Sparrow.
AWP leans up. Good shot for Dreamer, domes him. PHR, M4, looks up for next player. Back at car for a 3 versus 3, doesn't hold onto it for much longer. Red Star with his responsive smokes down at the B doors. The bomb should cross, get planted, and Marcos and Jedka throwing in the towel.
Jeez, what a shot that is from Dreamer onto the AWP. That is a very difficult crack angle to deal with. And Fiend, in terms of the entries, have been very successful. Wisla, yeah, they win their first round in the last. They then get answered back. Money, not in the great position. Loss bonus is slightly there, not crazy. Fiend up to 4, just trying to see if they can carry some early momentum, build from the start like they did on the last map where they're up 8-2.
Of course, the concern for me at that point would be whether or not Wisla have it in them to be able to bring a comeback, of course, because, well, Fiend might be able to gain an 8-2 or other similar sort of scoreline. Remember what we just seen on Overpass, it doesn't guarantee them the map win itself, even when in theory it should. Inside line for now, however, just getting easy control, again adjusting for the one aggressive play from Goofy. Holding trades is appropriate onto his that B-site offensive. Is there money available for Wisla? I guess we'll find out in a short few moments. And yes, there is. Double Orbs can stay in. From our side for Goofy's not the best of buys, but it's still full rifles.
Now, I wonder if Spero continues to not find success, whether we continue seeing double orbs, because he was finding a hell of a lot of impact in that last map. Marcos is now thinking about making one of those aggressive moves out for the lower tunnels. Good utility to just get him out of there straight away.
Yeah, counteraction there from the CT side. Red Star will find Goofy. Kick things off as Marcos looks up towards the long control, up towards top of long. Outside of the long house with the T-side players. Will just get caught crossing. He doesn't quite find his picks as of right now. He's seen the man. Not going to be much for now.
That's a good position. They get Han into the pit. They can have a molly out to that car angle too. Not quite expecting Marcos to be there just yet. Any terms of util or even just a shot out for Marcos is going to give them that indication straight away.
Spero with his pick. Marcos follows suit onto Red Star, so 2 for 1 responsive. As those AWPs do chime in for Wisla. As Han gets dealt with next, the AWP at the T-side will drop. Marcos with another good pick back, leaning in for more. Jedka can pick up the kill on the last man. And it will be Wisla in with that second. A really nice lockout. Not a lot of utility there to support Fiend's peaks, though.
No, not at all. And what does not help the situation is they don't really have the information that Marcos is playing out from car. And once he is, he's just kind of baiting. Just a lot of jiggling, not really wide swinging that angle all too much and allowing rotators up from City Spawn to continue doing damage. Orbs thinking about taking a peek in from mid. Han at least trying to see if he can do some damage with that scout. Wisla, all about finding consistency on this city basis.
Since we now have a single boost per box now that you can look into as a T-side player to try and catch the players crossing at the doors, do you think there's now like a lineup the Orbs can use to be able just to find the frags easy, like just pre-fire it behind the door?
Eventually, I think, because you used to get some things like that before the update. The only problem is with it is how often are they even going to be looking at mid picks, right? Rather than just going out to B or going out to look for a short pick instead.
Well, if you know, or if you like, hear a shot or something, or you have some information that gives you the indication that, yeah, that's not going to end up being the case. Possibility. Something I guess we can theory craft later down the road. But now in this round, there's no theory crafting involved. The only theory is gun, shoot, bullet to head of Fiend. No Kevlar to protect them. And they should lose this one. Indeed, Marcos just proving that theory correct with 2 fantastic shots to the heads of Red Star and Bubble. The bomb does get planted at least, so do find at least a little bit of money to be gained up, but T-side players are falling apart easy. Rifles bursting forward, and a third to the ball of Wisla.
Very well achieved to come through from the Wisla side. Good utility, not really over-peaking for Jedka, even when he gets dinked down pretty early on to just 14 points of health, so keep the advantages, don't let anyone fall to the eco. And for Fiend, yeah, they leave that late lurk in the upper tunnels and trying to hope to do some damage. They didn't really have a lot of investment in that round. There was even some players just with Glock, so the fact that they got a bomb plant is really the priority done.
Lead still held by Fiend for now. Wisla back up on the main guns. And the defaults out towards the tunnels area. Victor's going to lead that charge straight in to look towards the short control, perhaps. There are CT players in passive position, so really Fiend could go with whatever map control they want to. The main concern is going to be about that execution.
Yeah, Wisla haven't really shown a lot of aggression on CT side and kind of just played the meta how it used to be before the update, where it's just very passive on A, you just get the AWP sitting in around the car position, and you just play very defensive. And so far for Fiend, it's been a struggle on this T side. Finally being able to get a pick through mid, opens up that area of the map, and as well, drops one of those AWPs.
Mentioned that Spero's not having impact, so maybe that might be worth to try stopping out on another player. Or just stopping with the double AWPs in general. The AWP is currently in for PHR, who did get it shot over to him by the likes of Jedka. Can't quite hold the defensive on the B site. The flick on the one man is going to be good here. The smoke down to siphon him off as Han gets a kill back on Jedka. Meanwhile, still striking out of the mid control. Looking in against PHR. The double orbs crossfiring against him, but he backs off towards tunnel to join his teammates as the post plant set in. And I think Wisla are going to go for a save.
Yeah, it makes sense. Hold on to the double orbs, bring it into the next round. Now, in terms of a direct comparison, when we talk about the orbs and maybe Spiro not being able to have the best games possible, Wisla don't really have that opportunity of giving an AWP to another player because you don't really have any comfortable AWPers on that team, where for Fiend, if Han's not having a great game, okay, Red Star's going to start taking up AWP priorities. If Red Star's not having a great game, okay, we'll get Bubble on the AWP. Oh, we'll get Dreamer onto the AWP, depending on what map it is. So Fiend have got that availability of moving the AWP around if necessary, where Wisla, it's a bit tighter.
Fiend will still hold the lead for the time being. The 5-3 scoreline enabled, and it's not quite as one-sided. Maybe many people might expect the T-sides for Fiend to be. This is the double AWPs in. M4's out as standard. Boost up. Oh, great angle from Marcos as he reads the position instead, and the CTs win out the fight against the AWP. Dreamer can't trade. PHR can get 2 to respond, and Wisla find a hell of a responsive round.
Yeah, there we go. That's what everyone's waiting for. Just that aggressive move. Marcos being able to win out the first AWP pick, get players into the lower tunnels, and just continue to do damage. Victor's now the last one left. Wisla might only lose 1 player in this round.
With Victor being so low, you imagine that to be reality, and indeed, the AWP Marcos can strike, get that triple in. Hold a 4th round, a hell of a round as well for Wisla. I'm starting to get a bit concerned now for Team Fiend. Do hope they won't lose their map win streak above the likes of Wisla Krakow in this context. Because the way that they're playing right now, their T-side is not getting off as one-sided as it usually would.
Yeah, it's normally quite up there, their T-side, when you compare the 2 halves that they play. Tactical timeout coming through from Fiend, and I guess for them, realizing, all right, we need to really get going here. Yeah, we've got the lead, it's only by 1. And for Wisla, probably one of the first times in a while that a non-top tier 2 contender is actually taking Fiend sort of pound for pound and giving them a good fight.
Yeah, this is really good from Wisla. I mean, it starts to justify how many people have predicted them as the victors in this series now. Fiend are not getting off as the one-sided overdogs we thought that they would be. However, in this round, Wisla trying something a much more aggressive style, a much more aggressive kind of play. Leads to a 5 versus 3, an end result that Fiend are going to be happy with. 2 kills for Dreamer. No trades from the CTs.
Yeah, Marcos has been very successful with this AWP, and this is where he's got to try and really get something together. He's playing out for the long position, so he could get evaded for the most part. If he moves back more passive to the A site out at ramp or car, and there is a split into A, there is a chance that he can start multi-fragging. Fiend, though, just working with Dreamer with a couple of kills.
And great start for Fiend for the time being. Can they convert it into an execution? Well, with an open short plant available, that seems to be the case. Have got Marcos set there with the AWP, hoping to catch players off. They're looking towards that short position. Does get a decent shot, but only a tag towards the man that he saw. Victor does get finished off by the nade. But it's still the advantage for Fiend. The bomb will go down. Marcos is ready for that long player in Dreamer. Or watching AK trying to bait in here. The footsteps now, he knows the information. Good flanking against them as the teams just play passive, try baiting the CT forces to get those kills appropriate. There's Dreamer with a strike back. Spiro does find a kill in the interim, but him and Jedka being such low HP means that it's going to be virtually impossible to win these fights. Do get the low HP player and Dreamer next up, but Bubble and Han are going to be the next main concerns. The AWP watching into the plant position, gets his kill on Spiro. Jedka with his AWP v AWP battles, does win it out against the first man as he recognizes the position of the second player. Oh, he gets that tag. There's the Bubble's out there, still continues to look for the shot for 5 seconds remaining. He's out of time here, and Bubble stalled for long enough. He's got his kill, he's got his rounds.
Oh my goodness, Bubble just jumping pretty much saved that round, because if he would have got that wallbang kill, you can get onto that bomb and get it defused. That could have been such a sick play coming in. Unfortunately, it's not quite the case. Jedka, someone we very rarely see on the AWP, got so close to HP for Bubble. Fiend just come away with that one.
Only a few points of HP separated in the AWP, just not quite good enough to land the wallbang kill onto Gandalf. The tag was great, the follow-up not so much. And now Red Star getting involved at the early start of this particular round. The straight longhouse charge into the T-side line. They found Goofy, they've picked him up. They are low on HP for Red Star and Victor. There's a man advantage for Fiend again.
Dreamer does a lot of work lurking on this T side, and if these long players aggress forward, Dreamer might have the indication that B side's completely opened up. All it's going to take is him to just start walking forward. He may have even heard one of the rotates away, and that's why they're bringing players back over to T spawn.
A hard wrap back into the tunnels. Dreamer could have aggressed out, and as you mentioned before, could have found the B side completely opened up. Now there will be a player to defend against him. That's PHR here with his nade. Won't land all that deep in the tunnel's entrance, so there's no damage being done and no kills against Team Fiend. Victor and Red Star still sensible to death. The M4 comes out, misses its spray. Han, another good kill. AWP with the nades up. That actually could catch something. Indeed, it does. Lands directly on Victor, and Red Star gets those kills in. The bomb will go down in the meanwhile. They're heavily tagged and they're burning alive. Now the advantage goes the way of the CT side.
Oh, they've got to go for it now. They've got 3 picks just with utility alone, and now there's a chance that Spirit can start opening up with the orb.
It's in the area to try driving them away from the car position. Han is ahead of it to get back out further into the open. Marcos set for the swing, also at the tunnel's entrance. The AK of Dreamer is going to wait past Big Box. Han gets his kill, but now he's got to do it all on his lonesome. Only finds that one. Marcos and Jedka with the trades. And 5 seconds to defuse with a kit in on Marcos. Will leave it with a 5th for Wisla.
Oh, look at that utility damage going through for Jedka. Nearly 300, Jay. And we're in round 11. So much damage coming through in that position. And honestly, this round looks done. You're right. Sparrow's getting out of there. He's thinking to himself, 3v5. Well, let's just go and save. Oh, hang on a minute. I got 2 kills with the HE. Oh, we got an incendiary kill. Right. Well, let's go for it now.
You couldn't have placed that HE much more perfectly. You couldn't have placed that shot more perfectly either. Marcos straight up gets the info, flicks directly into the box position, lands the headshot on Han. That's what I'm talking about, mate. There's a lineup there somewhere. Kill found already, and it's only an eco, sure, against Fiend. That still doesn't make it any less impressive.
Yeah, Marcos is really delivering here on Dust 2, which is a beautiful sight for an AWPer to just be able to find as much consistency as he is. Thinking about getting overwhelmed, so he's going to have Goofy just to back him up, just to be able to have some slight aggression out from that short position, allow him to fall back. They've been tagged up relatively heavy, so hoping just that nobody else falls on this city basis.
Red Star tried to get an aggressive play against Goofy, and that probably could have been a kill right there had he caught him off guard. Not to end up being the case, though. What a flick. But all in all, around here for Wisla, 6 apiece. Fiend have not been allowed to get their early start. And this is the point where I start tugging my collar, Dwayne. This is the part where I start wondering whether or not Fiend might have had this as easy as we thought that they would do. Tactical pause called in for Wisla this time. Recognizing that there's rifles out for Fiend, how can they continue the momentum?
Yeah, I would be surprised if Fiend underestimated Wisla, because they are one of those teams that do come very well prepared in their games. I just don't think it's been a very great day from them, all in all. We haven't seen a lot of success coming in, and now in a position where you're 6-6, it's like, right, guys, let's really start pushing forward. Wisla, they're putting on a decent fight on this CT side.
They are. They're looking fantastic. High amount of potential right now for this side. Great shot in for Hart, finds Marcos. Pick things off on a brilliant foot. Being trying to re-establish themselves back up on the lead here, trying to take it back from Wisla Krakow. Our tactical pause was their own opportunity to discuss tactics and figure out where they want to go with this. AK's in towards the tunnels, and PHR just lines up the sprays on 2. Damage done to a 3rd player. Enables Jedka a chance for the kill, but only goes so far. Bubble maintains control, and hardly even catches Sparrow at the edge of a smoke in mid. Goofy will find that trade, but he's got 3 kills overall to get. 2 back on the back of the site. The bomb's gone down.
Yeah, interesting play in terms of the setup from Fiend and what they actually do to get into that B site itself. Red Star keeping the attention up to the top of window and just try and see if they can peek off one another. Flash over the top, the information's being given, and you got to wonder if Goofy's really going to go for this. They've got money beside them, they've got a flash, they've got a kit in this 1v2 situation. Doesn't realize that Red Star's completely underneath him. And just that whole setup, it's like, right, we got the mid pick, we dealt with Marcos, let's just walk through the tunnel smoke. Even if PHR gets a multi-kill, we're still going to be able to open up B. He gets 2 kills towards the back of Plaid. Bubble finishes up with a great double himself, and then even Han pushes through the mid smoke.
Surprised that Spro didn't win that fight against the AWP, considering the adjustment he has to make to try and get that kill. Fiend will hold themselves a lead one more time, but will it just be for this moment? The harsh buyback with the damage that Vista have done. A scout in for Han. A walk out towards long that's been completely uncontested by Vista. They got 4 players total on the A side defensive, which could allow a chance here to get all the kills in. M4 swing, smokes go down. We're going to get ahead of the curve. Does find his kill. Jedka gets Marcos. I think they just peeked in together on the short control. That's going to cost them. That's the round done already.
That was so dry coming out from Fiend. They gave a lot of early info from the flashes out from long. In terms of the peak, though, we saw Bubble peeking before the smoke had even gone down for the cross, just catching the CT sleeping. A TK comes into the mix there. And Red Star's going hunting. They want to try and drop all the weapons.
Why not? They could very well get it all. AK an aggressive Sparrow. Didn't catch the info on the man. He knows that he's out there somewhere, hearing the footsteps, but not seeing the vision. Catch that one pick back towards top of middle. I'm not going to get flanked in by Bubble either, so it looks like the CTs will be able to get away mostly alive here. And it will be 8 to the board of Team Fiend. But again, very awkward stances being held there by them. Again, the TK is going to be something that might have to be discussed going forward here for Wisla.
You'd have to imagine so. And even for Fiend, they're not completely sending it for the hunt. They are still having a couple of attempts to try and see if they could drop these last couple of players. And, well, instead, it doesn't quite happen at all. They've still got plenty of money to buy up into the next round for the tees. And, yeah, Wisla not quite having that success on A. I guess Long has been so underutilized from Fiend that they think, okay, we'll have an aggressive short setup. They've got, what, 2 players boosting up short side. Marcos pushes forward, and then straight away, oh, they've taken Long.
Tactical timeout called in by Wisla. I think mostly to discuss how they don't make mistakes like the one that cost them that previous round. Fiend on for a 9-6. Wisla can still make it 8-7. I think that honestly both of those respective halves would be pretty alright, I think, for Wisla. Even though it is Fiend's T-side line, and Wisla have kept it relatively close. Usually a 10-5 or 11-4 would be where you want to be at for Fiend, given how very T-sided this map has been for them in the past. Wisla can get a similarly good T-side line, and that could be enough to get the map up itself under wraps for them, and again, get their own 2-0 on the board. Scouts out for now, both teams investing in as much as they can. Heavy force buy for Wisla. Fiend, AWPs in the AKs. Of course, it's the final round of the half, so you kind of have to do so. Out towards the tunnels entrance is where Fiend want to try play towards the B site. 2 players on the defensive. The jump face, I think Han caught information. Flashbang's going over. Scout boosted up. Monsol's in. Red Star gets that kill. PHR with only 1 frag. 2 for 1 on the trade. Fiend had the sight. Wisla on for the retake.
Yeah, that whole round is Han, flash us, and we're going. That Util coming in over the top, and Fiend just running wild onto that B side. There has been some tag-up damage coming through into Victor. How much can this retake really find, though?
Probably not much. Taps forward, smokes on, sprays through, hoping to catch players on the boost spot, and so far so little's been gained in terms of the actual casualties against Wisla, but still the advantage holds against Fiend. Victor gets his kill on Goofy, damage done to Victor. Eventually will burn him alive. There's still 3 more T-side players to find, and Jedka and Marcos have no basis to get back into the site here. The retake may already be off, especially as Marcos falls. Jedka's on single digits of HP, and indeed it will be 9-6 to close out the half in favor of Fiend, looking towards their CT side as we look towards up. Wisla still behind against Fiend, but that could all change at the drop of a dime, as Overpass had already proven. Can they get their T-side going on Dust 2? It would be a massive, massive win if they're able to get us back to evens at this stage. And look at the hard stack from Fiend. They're going to go full retake on A. They're going out towards tunnels with a bit more of aggression, knowing that there can't be much mid-presence. And they'll realize very quickly that Long has been taken full control of.
Yeah, they've gone for a retake A setup without anyone with kit or utility. So this is going to be interesting out from Fiend. They are going to take the jewels straight away from the short position. Wisla, though, easy bomb plan.
Down on default, but we're going to lead that charge into the short control, seeing where Goofy is. Goofy gets his kill on the first man, and that second, potentially even a third. The Gooshers are available. He gets kills alongside Sparrow, who gets a kill of his own right, and Dreamer just locked out of the sight. Easy pickings, and you start to see where the whole thing falls down. The Fiend just bottlenecked in at short. All T-side players watching. Goofy ends with a quadra, and Wisla end with a pistol.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt of the setup just did not work with that play. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it was a mid default or it was a short take or whatever it was, the lower tunnels player would have heard it. The only way that setup from Fiend doesn't work is if it's a long take to an A side play. And that's exactly what Wisla do.
Playing the mind games, and Wisla played the better mind games today. Now with AKs versus the Eagles and the force buy. Kill already found against Red Star. Sparrow credited with it. He's tagged alongside Jedka, so there is trade potential in this round. And that position's held out towards that tunnels position. The walks in for Sparrow trying to get towards mid-control.
It all just comes down to how these aggressive short players can find impact. Deal with that lurk, be able to pick up the AK. Even the CZ of Dreamer, you'd have to imagine, needs at least a couple of kills.
Out into the side, Dreamer and Bubble get their kills with the pistols, hold the phone. It's a 4 versus 2. Damage being done. AK Sparrow can strike out towards mid-control alongside Goofy getting his picks. Sparrow's got to adjust and now look towards the player coming out of window. Bubble could be seen and the head taps up. Sparrow gets his own quadra. And Wisla will be able to find their 8th round. Just about, though. Fiend again putting up a lot of damage here. With the force buy not going well, it means there's not much basis to work from here.
They'll be annoyed at that one. They got themselves a 4 versus 2. They had a great crossfire on B between Dreamer and Bubble. And then Spiro, the in-game leader on the other side, actually starts showing up himself, getting 4 kills overall. Bubble extending out from the mid position just around Xbox, trying to hope to do some damage, except he's the only one with an upgraded weapon. It's USPs for everybody else.
BT50 just jump facing, looking into that mid-control, catching nothing as the T's work their way up and out into the A site. Taps of Goofy, damage done to the T side players, at least from the USPs that they have. Minimal amounts just chipping away at Markov's HP numbers as the bomb goes down for Jedka. And the retake, it might as well come through for Fiend. They won't be losing much in this context.
They'll be able to farm in for PHR, try and see if he can find a multitude of frags, if possible. If he can keep baiting in more fights, that'll work out quite nicely. Run and gunning, because why not? Goes over to the Glock eventually, doesn't quite be able to finish up another pick. So for Fiend, they grab a MAC-10. They'll probably get rid of it, though, because they'll look to get rifles in the next.
Those AKs will be able to stay in for the most part here for Wisla. Final to the board as they equalize and Fiend have the guns back out. Is there defense of the lead, or will Wisla be able to overtake Fiend much earlier in this game than they did in the last map? Again, all the focus turns towards this one, our first gun round of the half. And Wisla have gained a major lifeline. Pistol win conversions going swimmingly. Now comes the task.
Oh, there's going to be a brute force out from Long. They've got some really good spawns. The CTs are looking to try and fight them, and Red Star's actually holding on to that MAC-10.
Trying to go in with some nades instead. He just assists Victor in getting that first frag on Jedka out in the open. The T-side player was not ready for the CT to be so close, and Red Star does get traded. Victor responds, bursting through that smoke, hoping to catch a bit more onto PHR or to Marcos. Your blind fire just continue to bear down upon them, but so far getting so little of the T-side line. Marcos will start the rotations back as the bomb makes his way out to the tunnels.
He's so out in the open, not going down to pit and getting to some safety, re-smoking up the doors itself. Marcos waiting for another swing back, and the M4A1S sees that information, doesn't then wait, or at least aggress, wait for Han to get into position so they can back up one another.
Flashing out of the dodge here, edge of the smoke, he does catch that one player, recognizes that Han might also be watching the entrance. They might re-attack here towards the A site. With one CT to deal with, they've actually forced out an advantageous position. Rotations will be pretty slow with the T side, CT side line. Han rotating, sees a man, loses his head, and might have just lost the A site for it. Or is the cross locked? There are no smokes for the T side.
Yeah, there's one that gets picked up by Sparrow. It still doesn't really help the outcome at all when you're playing deep into CT like that. Bubble can try and at least drop the bomb and do some continuous damage.
Dreamer's going to make his way up towards this short control. Gets that one kill on Marcos or Sparrow with a quick response here. PHR will get the bomb down. Bubble can't do much to deny it. Will try take his face in, catch the players off. Sparrow caught. PHR close range, wins his fight, and now wins the lead for Wisla. This T side is starting to step up now for the Poles. 10-9, advantage for them. And Fiend just kind of caught flat-footed here on the CT half.
PHR has really surprised me. He's impressed me in a big way. He's a veteran guy on this team. He played for VP, played for Illumina, and he replaced Ponchek in the latest roster move, didn't he? He only joined the team in early August, so he's been here, what, 6 weeks, 7 weeks? And he dropped top fragger in that last map of 25 kills and 24 deaths. He's now doing the same here on Dust 2, and just won the last clutch.
In a really solid position here for the Wisla side as a result of his efforts. If it keeps up like this, Fiend could be the ones in trouble. They've got to get a good round in soon. Could this well be that round? Marston's forward, Bubble trying to lean into the mid control for Marston in hand. Red Star's orb is what's set towards short. That could be the main focal point.
They're going to get the run boost to try and see if they can bait the AWP. Flash over the top's even going to be able to get that shot off quickly. They're going to run forward, and Han is actually playing on an off angle out to the sandbags.
Marcos just goes completely out of the mid control, not expecting there to be a CT player so close, so kill comes in pretty effectively at a 5 versus 3 now. Star looks back with the AWP in hand. Jedka and Goofy still set on the short control. 40 seconds for the hit. The smoke off CT. Molotovs and flashes at the ready as well. Sprays through for Han, still not connecting much. Red Star going to try and look for some sort of AWP defensive as PHR can win one. Good fight. Goofy caught out on the open at elbow. Turns it to a 3v2, only temporarily. Trades involved for Red Star and Victor. Leave it all on Jedka. Bomb on his back. Faced away from thanks to that flashbang. 17 seconds to get the bomb plant, and of course defend off the retake from there. It's virtually impossible. They know that they're close. Kill in on Victor, not possible. Jump face for the AWP. Kill on the first man. 8 seconds, however. Got to go for the plant. They're still so close. Baiting in a shot back against Dreamer, and Dreamer does hold the line for now, but time's too far. Ticked, and Red Star can't go down. Indeed, he doesn't.
Jeez, that was very close, and honestly, there was a lot of damage being done there. The bomb plant would have been really helpful for Wisla. They don't get the bomb down and continue taking fights instead. Honestly, probably works out more impactful for themselves, knowing that quite a lot of players have still got money to buy into that next round anyway, making the economy as limited as possible from that CT side. And for a moment there, you really feel like that last kill onto Red Star's a possibility, down to just 35 points of HP.
So close to position here for Wisla to take control and try and extend against Fiend, but with that second gun buy coming in for the CT side, now they've got themselves a basis to work from again. Wisla, another tactical call. They're third in this map so far. Fiend still have 2 more that they can call out as well. There's still a plethora of tacticals that could be inbound in the next few rounds, and certainly for Wisla, they do not want to lose control of this advantage. They've gained a significant step forward here. They have to maintain it.
Marcos isn't going to be able to have that big green. There will be one on that city side of Han, who has come back in a big way in comparison to map 1. He dropped, what, 13 kills and 27, 28 deaths on map 1. He hasn't quite had an unbelievable performance on here on Dust 2. He's back up to 13 and trying to see if he can make it even more.
Presence held with Han's AWP ready with the smokes down to Sparrow. Matt Bay with the Molotovs Inbound up and out into the short control. Established by Wisla. Will they press onto that A site? They can't for a rotation. They're going to flash their way out. It might seem to be a fake. I think you're right on the money with that one.
Yeah, just try and see if you can over-rotate them. Try and see if you can get one of those B players out of there. And for Dreamer and Han, they're the two players on B. They're not really moving.
No need to at this stage. There's no rush out. There's no bomb sighted. There's one player watching out the mid control, and Red Star could crossfire with the AWP. Meanwhile, the FAMAS is going to have to get some support in as they turn their attention back for the B split. Han caught. Dreamer held towards the corner to the line up, and PHR can turn around towards that headshot. Make it a 5-on-3 advantage. Tech9 can get caught off and overwhelmed, but the bomb will go down, and the amount of advantage will sit towards Vista either way.
They're getting out of there. They're just trying to save straight away. And even for Bubble, he might have a difficult time trying to get back to the short position. Needs to deal with PHR in those lower tunnels. There's another player, the Tech9 of Goofy, and even the AK of Jenkins now starting to push forward.
They're hunting to drive these CT players away. Will they go for the hunt to take the weapons away as well? No, they form back up towards the tunnels and escape towards T-Spawn. There won't be full weapons taken away from Fiend, but still both teams investing heavy means that they're going to have economy problems over on the CT half of things as Vista maintain their lead and extend it even further against Fiend. I imagine there's got to be a force buy around these weapons, right?
Money's in a situation where you don't have to, right? I think it's probably safer to eco and half buy. Get a couple of upgraded deagles and some pistols for Dreamer and Han. In terms of the force, I wouldn't really want to see it.
That here with guns as appropriate. Smokes back to cross from Mars, SMG, M4 in. Not a lot in total, just those basic upgrade pistols and a spray in from Goofy that catches Victor first. Han can turn the USP into capitalize on the damage that Victor had done initially. A 4 versus 4 to open up the scenario, but not much more than that. The default setting for Vista will eventually look to take long control. And for Mars out for Han, could it be in for some damage? But it could also be on to be the damage.
Well, they're just waiting for that T-side weapon to get picked up, aren't they? They're waiting for them to try and see what Goofy dropped and Han to overextend. That's why they've left Jedcut. FAMAS first. FAMAS don't see this very often. Gotta wonder who's going to peek first of it. Jedcut not actually putting the molly down for the back of the side position. Start going in for the wallbang. There is some damage being done there.
Only on the HP numbers, though. No casualties for either side. They'll sit pretty and wait for their moment to shine. Look towards that B site where Dreamer and Bubble are sat ready and waiting for the defensive hold. An SMG and a Deagle. How much can they get done here?
But even for Marcos, he could take the first point of contact. If he deals with this SMG straight away, this is the round over.
Smokes up, shots in on Bubble, doing that leg damage. PHR with an A can finish off the job against the man. Dream is still held towards Platt. Han gets his kill. Deagle looking for the flick on PHR, catches his frag. There's a 3-on-2. With Vista having full control of the site, it's going to have to back off here for Fiend. They've got to save that M4 and that AK.
It's an okay eco. It's a couple of kills. It's holding on to an AK and an M4, so you've got a couple of rifles you can work with. There weren't really many upgrades. Han didn't get anything, and he even got a couple of kills. Dreamer was the one that had a deagle in that round, so all in all, it's decent. Vista up to 12, and my goodness, what an upset this could turn out to be. Because I think everyone, not even just us, would have Sinners and Fiend as the dominant two. Right? The two teams that everyone looks at in this competition and says, no one's going to challenge them. Yeah, maybe they might take a map. They might keep it close on one affair. It's those two, then it's the other 6. We're not having that conversation of Fiend not being in the top 4. So to see them struggling against a Vista side and the polls getting closer and closer to a 2-0 victory is an unbelievable feat.
Well, it's credit to Vista because they have put in the hard yards to get this together. Worked extremely hard on Overpass to get that map under wraps, and now they're doing great here on Dust 2 to be able to pull this out of the hat against Fiend, and this could also end Fiend's map win streak on this kind of a map up. The team is trying to strike back with their trademark aggression to ensure that doesn't end up being the case. Marcos opens up against Victor, kicks things off in this round for now. He is low HP alongside PHR, who's been tagged a little bit less heavily. Fiend have trade potential, but they've got to focus on that long control.
That was good long spawns, and it was fantastic pace to come through from Wisla to be able to open up, get that opening kill. Fiend are just going to give up the long control and go, right, instead, we want to take some aggressive moves. We want to start moving aggressive into the upper tunnels. We want to leave one of those AWPs pushed up into that short position as well. And for Wisla, it all just comes down to cross smokes and being able to get that bomb down on A, as well as dealing with the double orbs.
Smokes that are ready here for the T side to go down to that cross. That Fiend set up on the A side. Are they boosting players on top of each other, going for a vertical crossfire? Not certain what's going on there between Red Star and Han. In the end, they dismantled it and go back to the CT defensive. So they might have had them spooked here. They're going to leave A entirely and possibly even go for a retake setup.
They might have to. They've got quite a lot of nades from the B players of Bubble and Dreamer that are starting to make their way over. Dreamer obviously just being left in those upper tunnels to just watch in case there is one of those late rotations. The NWP wants to peek in.
Sees one, but gets caught off for it. Bubble with one good responsive, but the bomb's been dropped at that cross. I think Bubble might have actually been able to win the round off the back of that, unless they can get back to it. Here's the footsteps, goes back in for a jump face. Does lose out in that particular fight. Eventually, Goofy can get that trade, but Dreamer comes up with a trade of his own. Nade on site, that could catch Marcos as well. No, it doesn't. Flashbang back in. They are on site. The bomb is going down. Players seeing the dinks up available for the AK. Tap on the bomb planter. Now looking for the triple, and Dreamer holds the clutch at 2 HP.
Oh my goodness, how have they managed that? This has got to be the third 2v5 of the day from Fiend. Ridiculous stuff that the two veterans, the two B players that are on rotate to A of Bubble and Dreamer get that job done. The bomb drops in a very awkward position, doesn't it? Because it's sort of in that smoke, it's over the other side of it. Han finds nothing, and Bubble's just waiting for that bomb to just continue being dropped. Try and pull the distraction, does great work with the AWP. It's Dreamer that wins this round for his team. Another 1v3 for him.
A great shot in particular on a player that popped his head up above the default box and ultimately cost him the opportunity at the kill itself. He was low HP anyway. But even so, Fiends calling in their own tactical timeout, their own third tactical in this map up. Within one, getting back to Wisla Krakow's scoreline. 12-11. This one going as down to the wire as it was in the previous map. But will Wisla come out on top again, or will Fiend find us in map 3?
They've got some good long spawns again, but Han's even there quicker with the NWP. Finally get smoked off in the long corner. They want to keep fighting.
They will, but they'll get punished for it. Han's got to try with the secondary pick back on the AWP. Finds Sparrow, drops that bomb for the time being. I think the CTs might have seen that. PHR is going to grab that, but they will not go ahead and rotate away. They'll hold long for now, expecting the CTs to have aggressed up here, but they've fallen away. Got the advantage, now they can just play the waiting game.
Yeah, might see a run boost to come through from the AWPer, try and get him over to see if they can bait a shot. Don't exactly know where Han's relocated to. At least they know that the car angle looks pretty clear.
AK leaning up. Flash. Molotov in. Inside players trying to hold their positions for the time being here on the A side. Smokes up, Molotov's in, across, locked as the AWP gets a bit of an advanced angle for Han to look into. Get his kill on Jedka, gets tagged up pretty heavily, but still looking in for his third quadra kill. PHR trades on him. Another AWP set towards the cross. PHR does get dealt with by Bubble in the end, but he sets up Marcos in a 1 versus 2. Can he clutch this to Wisla to maintain that 13th? Or will Fiend find themselves at evens against Wisla with a backstab inbound from Dreamer? Looks like that second option is likely. Hasn't seen the head, has no idea just yet. And Dreamer can complete his backstab, complete the round for Fiend.
The difficult nature of that 1v2 is there's no util, so how does he cross out to the site itself? Dreamer having a great backstab in. Han playing with some freedom, right? Out to that long position, he gets himself a couple of kills, gets up to the site itself. Him fighting 3, that's probably his biggest round of Dust 2 so far.
And a 12 apiece as a result of his efforts. Force in for Wisla Krakow, naded to hell up towards that top mid position. You got Marcos trying to force his way back out of the longhouse, draw their attention away because they're going for a far short play. Hahn might not be ready for this. The AWP finds that first pick and that second, looks in for the triple. He's found every single one. Doesn't quite land that quadra just yet. He's got teammates to back him up though. And Bubble will indeed secure his pick alongside Red Star finishing off Marcos. A shutdown round for Fiend.
And now we're starting to see glimpses of the superstar of Hahn, aren't we? The guy that can really pull this team out of difficult situations. And for Fiend, this is 2 rounds in a row that look explosive, that really have got some going behind them. And you think about mentality of what that's like from Wisla. They had a 5v2 and lost it. And then since then, they have been demolished the last couple of rounds.
All thanks in no small part to Hahn. He was bottom of the board in the last map. We had questions to whether he was really performing today, but that's all been dismissed at this stage. Back in the game. Look for a 14th round for Team Fiend. Execution out for Wisla Krakow. We're going to try and go back into the B side. Red Star does get overwhelmed. Dreamer here with the M4 over Plat. Only gets 1 pick for his trouble, so decent damage done. Meanwhile, a lurk out towards this CT spawn could come through. The bomb will get planted. Sparrow could be a very important element here. He'll drop in, and I don't think the CT's hurt him. The backstab is going to get information. They now know that no one's out here towards the outside. It's all in tunnels.
They've got to slow it down, and Sparrow's got to smoke. If he gets it into the upper tunnels from outside of the doors, this could slow it down even further.
Enka's watching, and that smoke misses! No good! Flashes forward, here come the CT side. Victor with his kill. Jedka struggles to adjust against him, but Sparrow's close for the Tech 9. Spams his way forward. Hahn's alone, trying to look for a rifle. A resmoke does come down from the T side. The AWP fires, but with no kit, Hahn can't hold the round. Wisla has stolen it from Fiend, and we go 13 each.
Oh, that's such a great round. The only letdown is that smoke. Outside of that, there is so much positivity in that. The way that they're exploding out to the site, Red Star only finding 1. Dreamer as well, struggling to multi-frag, only gets 1 himself. And then they just read it straight away. I'm not seeing anything out from mid. Focus your attention in on those upper tunnels. The resmoke doesn't quite come in. A couple of those M4A1Ss do damage. Sparrow even gets a pick. 13-13, and that really is a round that comes out of nowhere.
It really does. Fiend couldn't have seen that coming from a mile away. A tactical pause called in for them, appropriate so. Buy back on a double op setup, and this round could decide map point, in the case of Wisla Krakow, match points. The pressure is on, and a double ops route to play for Hahn and Red Star again today. Marcos off initially, going to try and siphon him off away from the to his side angle. AWP not allowed to pick down towards that mid control. T-side players force their way into the longhouse. They do drive the 2 CTs out of position.
They've got some AWPs and some interesting setups. Red Star aggressive on short, Hahn in the lower tunnels. We've seen double AWPing on the CT side of Dust too. It's normally been Bubble who's been playing out to that B side that's been grabbing the AWP. Instead, they're getting over to Red Star in this round. And for Wisla, they have got no luck. Everyone is regrouped outside of the longhouse.
Quiet we go for the most part out towards that A half of the map. The aggression from Hahn in tunnels is going to get the info that no one's out here on the B play. The utility in, the flashes over, the sprays through Wisla. Accounted for perfectly by Fiend. They're passive, not watching directive on the site itself. The smokes will go down. The incendiaries going to try drive from the head. Sparrow with a run boost set up for his teammate Jedka. Not even going to go for the run itself, actually. Counter boost in from the CT side. As Jedka catches that one individual, damage being done. Sprays completely manic, and Jedka gets away alive somehow, despite all the bullets flying his direction. An advantage sits in favor of Wisla Krakow. No nades in. Kufa gets another kill on Dreamer. It's a 5v3.
Red Star's got to show up. He's got to hold himself with the NWP. Display as much pressure as possible. Waste that time. There's only 20 seconds on the clock.
Time can still favour Fiend in this one, especially as Red Star finds a pick back. 3 on 3. M4 in for Bubble. Goofy overwhelms. Red Star caught off. There comes his kill back. It's all on Hahn. Flanked in by PHR, who closes it down and holds the round for Wisla Krakow.
Oh, PHR again. He's having another sick round. Yes, it's only one kill. It's the most important kill. It's the one that gets the round over and done with. Red Star only being able to find 3 kills. I mean, you laugh at saying he only gets 3 right. He needs more in that situation because his teammates just aren't really providing. And rather than ecoing and playing for OT, they're forcing it up.
Straight in with the SMGs, the FAMASs, the Scout, the 1M4 for Victor being the best weapon they got. And if Fiend don't take this round, I have a feeling Wisla are going to take the 2-0. SMG of Dreamer are going to become the focal point of the B defensive alongside Bubbles SMG in the back lines of the site. All T-side players were there in tunnels. They're going to scatter and play a bit more default for a bit longer. They've got 1:20 here. Will they make any adjustments?
You'd have to imagine that the setup and the read is going to be everything. They're bringing Red Star over to B with the Scout, and I think in Han as well, they are leaving this A site very open to only Victor to hold.
Most powerful weapon, Solo playing the A defensive. He has got Han out at CT. A lot of noise being made towards short. Wisla threw a number of Molotovs in towards mid and from out of the tunnel, so they suspect that there's a heavy force there in the tunnels itself. Information just pieced together by Fiend. Trying to get the right read here, but is it the right one at the right time? Is there going to be a last-second A play? 40 seconds, that bomb's dropped in lower tunnels. Where does Marcos pick it up? Where does he commit? He's going to join that short force.
It looks like it's the right read. Just leave Jedka as the lurk. He could put another smoke down, more flashes, hold them at B. And in terms of A, Victor has to multi-frag.
Molotov's out, sprays through. CT player's going to continue to commit, and it's all on Victor. He's got to hold at least 2 kills here if he wants to set his teammates up with a chance. Han will get that lurker. M4 gets only 1. PHR with his responsive. The AWP going to lock out the rotations via sure. The bomb will go down. Han has not been detected, but I don't think Marcos has either. 2-2 split for this retake, and Marcos needs a kill, but Bubble gets his frag back. Sparrow with a trade, holds back on the second player as well, knows exactly where he is. Meanwhile, 2 CTs acting out to the A site. Is that a bomb plant open for Wisla? I don't know if it is. Now they're going to turn their attention back into the site itself. Red Star watching with a scout. Sparrow turns the orb back in against the man. Gets his kill. Native Dreamer. PHR gotta win this fight at elbow, but they've just got enough time, even without the kit, to keep us alive for Fiend.
Oh my goodness, it's Dreamer again, up on rotation. What a great distraction coming through from Bubble up on that short position. Just pulling the attention over. They tap that bomb once, try and draw the fights. Dreamer gets it done. Marcos with the orb could not find a connection. Spiro doing absolutely everything with PHR to hold on to the aggressive short hold. 14-14, we're going around 29.
So smart from Bubble as well to be able to hold down that position. Wait and fall back away from short, disallow the secondary kills to come in, disallow the man advantage to tip the way at this Krakow. All important picks at the all important periods. Han and Red Star back on the double op setup. Into the tunnels, the T-side players will try and look in for the CT individuals. Red Star eyes set. Hoping for contact and hoping for kills, but again, this default goes quiet. Quiet as anything. The AWPs just wait for contact. Marcos could take that AWP engagement, but doesn't see the man. He backs off.
They might just walk out from mid. There's an opportunity where they can try and catch the B players flat-footed. Han's rotating in with the orb. Spiro's got the angle on lock, but it's the AWP that wins out the fight.
That's all important. Slow fades, could have been chance for the AK. Instead, it's the orb that wins that fight. Now Red Star in the back over a ramp. Gets a kill to a 5v3, trying to make it 2. Goofy with his shot back. One player still there towards that long control. One of the AWPers dropped. Victor still leaning in. Sees one player, but Goofy finds his head instead. And the bomb can cross to get planted. They are heavily tagged in this 3v3.
They're all coming in from that short position. And for Marcos, he's got the angle on lock. He sees the first couple of players, misses the shot.
And the shot continues to go right for the AWP. Taps to the head for Goofy. Only finds 1 kill. And Fiend continue to find rounds now on map point for their map pick.
Oh, Goofy did everything in that round. The wide swings out to that long position are something beyond the rest. 23 kills, 10 assists. He is showing up here on Dust 2, but even that performance on the site isn't enough. They needed Marcos to strike at Goose with the orb, and Fiend get that retake on. It's Dreamer again on these retakes.
Missed AWP shots, man. Gonna harm them so bad. Goofy, that one tap should have converted into more kills. It should have been a spray to come together against the next individual. And now look at the buy for Wisla Krakow. 1 AK, 1 Galil, 3 Tech 9s. That's it. It's all they've got to work with. They better come up with some ridiculous players, else Fiend are going to take us to a third map.
Well, who's going to peak first? You've got 2 players in the lower tunnels to the city side, T side players above. Han just trying to see if he can get baited. They don't know about Bubble.
He could do the linchpin element, but no, they overwhelm him with a Tech 9. Red Star can respond, but Spro gets 2 frags against Han as well. AWP recover for the T side line, and those nades sending the rifles back into T side hands. 2 for 1, 4v3. Investing going to look into that B site. Dreamer has it all to do. Smoke down, flash in. They do not go for the commit. They're going to rotate back, and the CTs are reading this.
Yeah, there was a moment there where Dreamer was the only player on B, so that could have been the full send into the B site play itself. Victor's got an incendiary back onto A, and now they haven't heard any kind of continuous commitment or more util out to the B side. They're going to start bringing Red Star with the AWP back over to defend with Victor on A.
35 seconds. Wisla still rocking a Tech 9 onto Jedka. They lost that AK as well earlier from Goofy. Smoke set, flashes over. Got to act real quick towards this, and with the util being thrown out, Dreamer's going to know. AWP of Red Star will be first contact position. Just get smoked off of angle. Victor going to wait back at Goose, but time is of the essence. Wisla have got to act quick, and they've got to be absolutely flawless with this hit. Shot in, misses out. Bro gets his kill. Victor lines up 2 completely blinded. Looks for Marcos to make it a triple, and the player back up the top end along can't do anything at all. Sparrow's left for dead, and it's 16 of 14. Wisla Krakow can't make it 2-0. It's Fiend that take us to Ancient.